All right, Shavuot Tov, Rabbi, here we are, back at it again. Chanukah Sameach, Chodesh Tov. So tonight I want to do something on Chanukah a little bit. I wrote a piece not too long ago on Chanukah. I wanted to go through it a little bit, answer questions, field questions, and talk about how when you look at the candles, they're looking back at you. And what are they asking you? What are they asking you when you are looking at them? That'll be the last thing we touch on. So first, we're going to start off with a nice Chanukah vort. Hopefully it'll involve growth and becoming the person you want to be. Yeah, let's move the table, guys. You have menorahs over here. Yeah, good. Eat those donuts. Latkes are coming out imminently. And so we're going to talk about Chanukah a little bit, growth, and then what are you supposed to be thinking about as we're staring at the candles? Because they're going to beckon to us, staring at us also, saying, "No, what about you?" So let's go. As we know, the Gemara in Chagia 12a explains that when Hashem first created light, what emerged wasn't like the light that we're used to. And people think, oh, it must have been like a sunlight. Well, what was created on the fourth day? It had no bearing or any relationship to the sun because that was Taka created then. So it's this very different type of exalted holy light that was not like your sunlight at all. And so, what do we know? That we know that Rashi says that light was so holy and so pure that it was unfit for those people in, later generations who would come to sin, particularly in, the flood and the dispersion. So what did Hashem do? What did he do with the light? He concealed it for, very good, Jared. He concealed it for the tzaddikim to have later on. Yeah. Where did he put it? Where is it? Close. There's different shatim we'll go through. Where do you put the light? I have 3 different shatim that are going to open 3 different gates for you to access your shosh and neshama to figure out which one resonates with you. And then you'll figure out what the candles are going to be staring back at you asking. So first we say that the Baal Shem Tov, the Bnei Yissaschar, I got to get my sources, and many others will tell you that this is actually, this hidden light was the Ohr HaGanuz. This Ohr HaGanuz was hidden away inside the words of the Torah. And so we learn that when we receive like a taste of this world-spanning perspective, which is important to know, by the way, the Gemara says, like we said in Chagia, it says, from one end of the world to the other, you're able to see with this light. But not really like the light of the sun. But when you learn Torah, says the Bnei Yissaschar, the Baal Shem Tov, and this type of derech, that when you learn Torah, you're tapping into that Ohr HaGanuz. It was hidden away for you to access when you're able to through the Torah. Now hopefully we can get on the Madriga that when we're learning the Torah, we're actually accessing that light. And it'll help us see deeper, see clearer, be holier, be better. The next is the Sefat Emet and the derech that's usually more Hasidish bent. They say that this light actually corresponds to the 36 candles. Don't count your shamish. The 36 candles that you're going to light over the course of all 8 nights of Chanukah. And that corresponds to the 36 hours that the Ohr HaGanuz was present in the physical world before Hashem hid it away. So to them, where is the Chanukah? Where is the Ohr HaGanuz? It's in your Chanukah lights right now as you're staring at them. The Ohr HaGanuz is hidden away in the Chanukah candles. What are you going to do to tap into that? How do you tap into that? What's that even mean? We're going to unpack it all. And then a third view, which is what my Rebbe said, and it's an awesome Motzei Shabbat, aside from the Ohr HaGanuz being tucked away inside the Torah or in the Chanukah candles, Rav Shlomo Volba tells us that it's inside of every one of us. The Ohr HaGanuz is inside of you. So the Maisa is, Rav Beryl Gershenfeld, Rebbe, was talking with Rav Volba just a day or so after the passing of Rav Yitzchak Hutner. He was known for being a source of light and joy into the whole entire world. So Rav Volba told Rav Gershenfeld that he once asked Rav Hutner, he said, how did you get to be that way? Like, what was the thing that let you become so amazing? How were you able to be the light that you were, effectively? And so Rav Hutner said, and this is the quote, this is why I got to have the notes, in Slobodka, we always learned to connect to the Ohr HaGanuz. What's that mean? So, again, in Slobodka, we always learned to connect to the Ohr HaGanuz. So based on that story, Rav Volba explains, and that Rabbi Gershenfeld understood, and he told over to us, his Talmud, and he said that the Ohr HaGanuz was something deep within every Jew. And our Chanukah candles remind us of that hidden light inside of us. When we light these lights, they're supposed to remind us, there's the latkes, go get them. They should remind us of the hidden light that we have inside of us to illuminate the world. And so, for example, when you just look at an olive or you look at olive oil, it's not going to really mean anything to you. It's not really going to feel like it's, special. It just looks like olive oil. It doesn't even seem flammable, let alone something that can provide light at all. But when you add a wick to it and you ignite it, you get not just a spark, but you have an illumination of something beautiful, something that can literally light up the entire room around you, and it'll burst forth with light-giving abilities. So Rav Gershenfeld tells us that that's something that's inside everything in the physical world. These latkes we're about to dive into. Everyone here, the wine that's on the table, whatever it might be, whatever seems prosaic has the capacity for being uplifted spiritually. Everything physical can be turned into something spiritual if it's done properly and if it's done right. You just have to set it on fire. Not literally, figuratively. Sometimes spiritually, sometimes figuratively, sometimes literally if it's a candle, right? But Lamaisa, that's the Chab. So when we look at our Chanukah candles, we have to subconsciously recognize that there's potential hidden inside that oil. There's energy in the world that we did not really see at first. And as we look at the menorah, we should be reminded of this light that we have inside of ourselves. And so we call that the Ohr HaGanuz, right? We call it the Ohr HaGanuz. And it's calling out to us to be actualized. That's what it's asking you. That's what it's asking you. As you look at the candles, they're looking at you saying, new? I represent Torah and the Ohr HaGanuz that was hidden. I represent, everything hidden inside and actualization of potential. What about you? When are you going to burst forth with your ability to give back to the world in your powerful way? When are you going to figure out what resonates with you? It doesn't have to be huge. It could be small. Or maybe, whatever it is. When are you going to tap into your shosh and neshama to figure out what's inside of you? That's what it's asking on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all 8 nights. And now, let's just put together all 3 different corridors, so to speak, of access points that we said. Oh, come on in, Ben. Good to see you. Grab a seat, get some wine, get in on the action. Donuts, wine, everything. Latkes. So it's calling out to you. The light of the menorah is calling out to you as you're looking at it. It's looking at you, saying, new? I illuminate. When are you going to illuminate? I have the Ohr HaGanuz in me. You have the Ohr HaGanuz in you. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to tap into it? And so now, let's just do the last piece before we open it up even further, because this is just the surface area of everything I wanted to touch on today. We see a question. We asked, where is the Ohr HaGanuz? We knew that it was hidden away for the tzaddikim. And we said, one answer, one shot was what? It was hidden away in the Torah, right. The second one was it was hidden away in what? Menorah. And Rabbi Gershenfeld says it's hidden away in us. Not just people, but you. Make it personal. Otherwise, I can punt the football. It's on us. It's in me. Yeah? Very good. So which one's right? Which one's right?
Mutually exclusive.
Oh, very good. Rabbi, they're not mutually exclusive. They can be all right. Yeah? They're all doorways. So I suggest that I say these are 3 different doorways leading to the same room. There's 3 different doorways that lead to the same room. And when properly done, learning Torah can reveal and bring out your hidden potential. It can give you a mind-expanding vision of how Hashem set up the whole world and what He asks of us, really, and how we can grow to become our best selves. And that dovetails also with what we said before about Chanukah candles, right? With the hidden potential revealed. So regardless of what access point resonates with you most, we should merit to, seek out the Ohr HaGanuz, successfully find it, and I say delight in its radiance in the world to come. But I wanted that just to be the launch point for the discussion tonight and the Vort generally. So we said, again, as we're digging in, Chazara is always important. We said that the Ohr HaGanuz is hidden away in 3 different places. We said the Torah, we said the Chanukah lights, and we said ourselves. We said, depending on where your shosh and neshama lines up, you're going to resonate to one of those more than another. Some person's going to resonate to Torah more. Sometimes you're going to resonate more to the Chanukah candles more. And maybe you'll resonate to yourself more. And if we have a lot of work to do, which many of us do, it might not resonate at all with any 3 of those doorways. All 3 of them may seem very, very locked away. And it might be very hard to resonate with anything like that. What do you mean the Ohr HaGanuz, the hidden life for tzaddikim? Who says I could be a tzaddik? Who says I'm even worthy of any of this? And we have very low self-esteem. We could really beat ourselves up. But we have to recognize that all 3 pathways are open and available. And this is Chanukah. This is the time for it. So before we dive any further, questions, comments, reactions, straight out of the gate, anything. Yeah, Jared.
You say It's in ourselves. Something like, listen to Adam, what are we talking about here? Like, define that.
Good. So the way I understand it is that it's not just Galus Adam, which is a very nice perspective. Of course, that's where you always have to connect to the Orgoda. That's the way the Slobodka Derek would tell us. But I think that there's something deeper than just know your greatness.
Sure.
There's something I think deeply, or like focus on I feel like there's something deeply in a person that Hashem literally took and tucked away, and He saved that for you. And maybe that's your Pintala Yid inside. Maybe that's that's the little fire inside of you that you can kindle and see. And that's why things really resonate with you. And when you burn that brightly, when you're doing things that you know resonate with who you really are, I think that's what I would call it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah.
The only literal light is the Chanukah menorah light. So when you say the light of a person or light of what do you mean?
Very good. So again, I think this goes back to what we said when we first saw it in Bereshit, right? We said that Rashi told us that this hidden light that was so good on day one, it was hidden away, and I don't think it has to resemble the light of the sun, like we said by day 4. I don't think it has to look anything like that light. It might, but in a certain sense, that light, even in this light, is hidden inside, whatever that means. My buddy, when I was in the first year of the Chabura here, Yaakov Kafka, he would used to say it's like poking a hole in reality. Whenever we would light the Chanukah licht, he would always say it's like poking a hole in reality. And I always just thought about that. 10 now, Yaakov, if you're listening, 10 or 11 years later, I still remember that. When I you just look at it and you're like, wow, look at that flame. It's almost like however many years later, right? You just look and you see it, it's like, wow. Check that out. And it's a doorway into a light of illumination, a world of illumination. And so it doesn't have to be a light that we think of like that, I think that would be. But you're right, there might be something special about that. Meaning 2 out of the 3 don't resonate with a physical type of existence, but 1 does. My response would be, I think that physical manifestation is just supposed to serve as the reminder for you. Anything else, guys? Okay, so let's launch. So how do you access these doors? Okay, they're found in the Chanukah candles, that's great. But if you're busy, let's be really honest, guys. Some of us are dating, some of us are working, some of us can barely make it home for lighting on time. How do you resonate with Chanukah when it's a very, very hard thing to do? Or others of us, if you're really, really figured out the lumdus of it, you light for me, I got a date. You don't even get the light, you know what I mean? So how do you tap into Chanukah in a way that's going to resonate with you? Let's make the question stronger. There is no malacha that you stop doing. You could be on your phone all day long. You eat donuts and latkes, and that's geschmack. But really, okay, how do you tap into Chanukah if it's not that easy? And that's the point. Out of all of the holidays that we have, it's not like Purim is 1 day, so everything is packed in, and it's mitzvahs. This is 8 days and nights in the darkest of times, because the achrayus is on us to tap into the holiday. Hashem gives you Chanukah when you're young, and it's all handed to you on a silver platter, especially if you came up with the upbringing that we had. Where presents at this night, this thing, Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song, whatever it was, man, status updates, love it. Whatever it is, we had it, and it was given to you. But when you're the Baal Boss, it's different. You now have a Christ to give it to somebody else, even if you had a bad Shabbos, even if you had a garbage day at work. No matter what it is, you got to give that over to your kids. And let's be honest, you're lighting licht. I'm lighting a candle. How does that resonate with you? What are you going to do? For some of us, it's going to be through the light of the Torah. Some of us, it's going to be through, let me learn more about the holiday to really tap in and get it and really love it. Others, it's going to be, I just stare at this light for 30 minutes and I really just feel like a different human being. And honest to God, that's me. That's me. I can have the worst day in the world, but even your candles that I didn't light, and I can just look at those and see the world a little bit differently, poking the hole in reality, it's a game changer. Other people, it's going to be something altogether different. They're going to have to see the reflection of the world in themselves. So again, we don't have one... Hand raise? 1 second. Well, let's just finish the thought and then we'll answer. So we'll ask and answer, hopefully. So like this, we're saying it's supposed to be built that way. Arguably, Chanukah is one of the hardest of holidays to tap into when you get older and older. And it's meant to be that way. I think, number one, the realization that it's built that way and meant to be that way helps emphasize the fact that we need to be the miracle for other people. We need to step up inside of ourselves and reach out to others. And it's the darkest of times so that we could see just how illuminating the power on the other end is. And if you can tap into it, it's like none other. Yeah, Ben.
Somebody sent me a challenge. I've been doing in one form. I tried this year in another form. That you basically, when this first half hour, and I usually have to late for because I'm working.
Right.
And they sounded me sit in front. Try to sit in front of the menorah. It's not
easy.
Yeah, I mean this sit in front of the menorah. The other time I take my phone, put on a shiur. Mm-hmm. This is like this. I took my phone, took a picture, threw my phone on the side, maybe check the clock.
100%. Because your mom is working after lighting, no? Huh? You're still working after lighting, no?
No, I'm not working.
Okay, so then.
I put a shiur on.
Okay.
You can't go. So you sit down, put divrit, sit in front of the menorah and put on divrit. But this was not even that. I threw it away. Somebody decided to throw it away, and they're also sending out this year this night think of X, this night think of Y, this night think of Z.
So they do that every year, and again, I'm a big proponent of ignoring all those things. I can go on record saying that, and you got to know what resonates with you. Mm-hmm. You gotta know what resonates with you. Meaning, if for you looking at the candles is what sets you ablaze, do it. If it doesn't, don't. If you want to shiur, that's the doorway. Connect to it. If you, honest to God, are a person who, and I've seen this, there are people who literally have to light and run. Then you have to figure out a way. Meaning, because they have to go to do something else, whether it's tending to kids that they have to change diapers of, whether it's kids that are running all over the place, And or it could just be I have a date that I happen to schedule for this time, and I have to get out, I have to get in the car and I have to drive to where I'm going to be, or I have work, maybe I work at night, not easy. So those types of things are a case by case basis, and I think the main kishkas of what I wanted to say, other than what we said in the beginning, right now is that there's a level of a catharsis that comes when you know that it's built that way. When Chanukah is supposed to be at the darkest times, that's hard. That the payoff is even more. It's even bigger. So I wouldn't worry about, all the different types of things like, they're saying this night focus on this night. I want to know how many children those people have. I want to know how much they've worked. You never know. You have all these different things, and they are not you with your mitos, your kochos. You never know, right?
They weren't necessarily standing on one foot all morning pushing pills so much.
100%. They are not. They're not Ben Gursky, who's rocking the house, doing things as a pharmacist. And everything is going to resonate with different people. And my number one thing at all of these shiurim, the biggest theme is that you need to know yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you are different than that WhatsApp message, what do you care about the WhatsApp message? If you're going to relate to Chanukah in a way that sets you on fire, so that way you tap into the Nisan, that you tap into the miracle, and it's a holy Kedusha thing that has a proper derech, do it. That's the way. Yeah, Jerry.
I don't mean to I just want to follow up.
Yeah, sure.
For the third approach, again, someone who wants to feels like the source of the Ohr HaGanuz is inside of each one of us, or a little bit. Can you give us a Motzei exercise how to work through that?
That's hard.
I mean, it's a difficult question. I know
that's hard.
It's probably very complicated.
So if you want to be a person that can tap into that, is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea would be to first start off recognizing self-worth.
Right, sure, that's fair.
If you start off with your self-worth, and you see every day that you're a good person, and that you have a lot going for you, and then you build up to knowing your strengths, and you believe in them.
Okay, that's fair.
And then it's a progression, and then after you get to a level where you see your strengths inside of you, and you've seen success in using them.
Fine.
And then after that, you're able to get to a place where you truly resonate with that inner world that you've developed and are successful with.
Yeah.
I think you'll see it.
Okay, that's fair.
It might illuminate very, very, very like a little teeny spark, but I think that would be the seeds for starting there.
I see.
For someone that really relates to the Ohr HaGanuz through the Chanukah candles, what's he supposed to do the other 49 weeks of the year?
You hold on to that. Oh my gosh, you bottle it up. Just many different people talk about this, but Rav Beryl also has mentioned that every Yom Tov, every Shabbos, every one of these types of days is an outpost along the way in our journey. And Chanukah is 8 days for a reason. because you need to bottle every single day of it up inside of you for as long as you can, and then recognize that you're on a journey. We are travelers. If you approach it like a traveler, you'll see that I can only take so much with me as I'm going to a new location. And you'll see that you can only take so much with you as your provision. So you can't say, well, I want that Chanukah inspiration every day. You're not going to get that. You know? You're not going to get your matzah right now, and if you do, it's not going to taste the same. Right? You're not going to get your kiddush if you have this wine versus, your kiddush wine that you were able to make for your wife and your kids when you're married, God willing, soon. Right? In the right time for everybody. It should be that you take and bottle up these experiences in your knapsack and you schlep them around with you. So this is something that, and then you take it out to look at when you really need it. And I know that sounds really lofty, really pie in the sky, but here's an example of it. In my life, there have been times that I have had really challenging experiences. Whether it's with my children, whether it's with my wife, whether it's with myself, and where I'm holding, or whether it's with things that just pop up on a day. But if I can remember that Shabbos is coming, again, not everybody's going to feel it's Shabbos. It might be something else, but Shabbos is coming. That's like a game changer. Because I know I have my next outpost, or Chanukah, or whatever it might be. You can look forward to something. Or, in the moment, let's say something really challenged you, and you really feel low about who you are. The date didn't go right, you didn't get the job you wanted, or your wife yelled at you when you thought you did everything right. Yeah, whatever it might be, you pulled something out of your back pocket that came from an experience over a Yom Tov, when you were on, and you did amazing, and you were right, and you were successful, and you look at that light, and that's what you hold on to illuminate the whole rest of the rest of the year. Now again, it's very hard to explain that, but it's very easy to feel it. You'll feel it. And I'm sure everybody in this room has had at least a glimmer of what that's like. To say, I'm going to pocket, all of this stuff with me, and I'm going to take it out and remember how amazing that was when things are hard. And if you haven't, that's an amazing an exercise to do stam when things are going bad. Think about all the times that you had with your buddies, with your friends, when things were going right, especially in the area that you're struggling with, and then you take that out to look at it. So that's taka it. You have 8 nights of Chanukah licht. You have, how many... And I would say that there's a direct correspondence to how many days of a Yom Tov there are that, relate to the rest of the weeks of the year and the days of the year. And your avoda needed to bottle it up and save it and use it properly. And if you're a type of person who goes through things and it's just like check the boxes, we got more inner work to do. We have more inner work to do. Yeah, if it's just check the boxes in terms of like, here I am, Chanukah, here's the lights. We got some work to do. Now again, I didn't say it's easy work to do, but we got work to do. And the same thing, if you can't right now think of a Yom Tov that you had, like mine is Simchas Torah, period. If you can't tap into like what it was for you, for me, it's dancing on Simchas Torah this year with Rabbi Reisman as he took out my sefer, right? Like that was a powerful moment for me. And if I can remember that when I feel really, really low about myself, which sometimes does happen, I'd be like, oh, look at that. And that doesn't always have to be a Yom Tiv, but I find, at least uniquely for Yidden and for me, that the times that are Yom Tovim, or the times that are Shabbos, or that are spiritually influenced by the Zman like that, those are the times that you can pick yourself back up when you don't have the inspiration for the rest of the days of the year. Follow-ups?
So wouldn't the concept of Ohr HaGanuz maybe more of like something part of I wouldn't. This is not the Pintelig. It's not exactly the Pintelig, but it's a different kind of spark inside that is something that allows us to penetrate in a different kind of way than say the Pintelig. Maybe the Pintelig is more like a surface thing, but the Ohr HaGanuz is the deep side of us that sustains.
We can call it that too.
To me, my interpretation is knowing that your flame can light another flame, right? Like that you have a wick. I heard this week, Rabbi Jabby said that the nefesh is near the oil, the ner shemen and pestle. So you have a wick, a shemen, the oil and the oil just kind of like is your neshama. Like that one neshama can light another neshama, like with either words or actions or just being there for another person, right? That like one light one wick can inspire another wick, and neshama can inspire another neshama.
Very nice. I like that a lot. Follow-ups, questions before you keep going? Okay, good. Great. So as we dive deeper into the sugya of what it is to be involved in ourselves and growth and Chanukah and tapping into things amid the difficulties, right? We said essentially that this is the time of year where it's literally the darkest holiday to tap into, and when you're young it's very easy, when you're older it's not. And I'm going to give you a hint. When you have kids, and especially if you're Ashkenaz, if you're Sephardi, you're the only one lighting. Yeah, but you'll have your kids light also for chinuch anyway, so it's almost basically the same difference. You're gonna have like tons of menorahs around, and you're gonna have your kids bumping up at the table every 3 seconds. And if you got candles, forget it, they fell down or this or that. You learn very, very quickly. You burn the bottom of it, you leave it into the menorah. It's gonna be very challenging, just lamaisa, to figure out the bare bones basics of how to make it special for yourself amid chaos. And that is the next piece of everything. In our world, we find it very challenging to focus on anything. We live in a world of chaos, confusion, difficulties, challenges, darkness, amid what people think is light. And the kids knocking the Chanukah table is nothing more than the physical instantiation of that for the whole world. Yeah, for everything. It's nothing more than, here I am trying to light my lights and the kids are just knocking everything over. That's your life in a nutshell. It is. That's a mushal, I think, for everything. Here we are trying our best in the darkest of times to do everything we can to grow, and there's always going to be something that tries to knock it down. You have to go out of your way to either be okay with that and still bounce back and still do it and still let the kids light, obviously, or figure out a different way forward. And so having the realization that we are amid difficulty and challenge as we're doing Avodas Hashem, I think is half the battle. If you go into shul thinking that it's going to be the most amazing experience in the universe, that no one is going to forgive me, no one is going to, flatulate, which they do.
Thank you.
No one's going to do any of that. No one's going to do, no one's going to, daven incredibly loudly. Nobody's going to, the kids are knocking the menorah down. Like, it's going to happen. And that's okay. Your battle is not about the dude who did that or that or that. It's, how do I tap in the moment? And if I can do that, like that's another mushal for the whole essence of everything. And you'll see little pockets of this is going to creep up in your life. And you can be like, especially if you're the guy who had to go into shul, have to be super stark and be like, here I am, and I have to have ultimate focus. You're going to be shattered before you even got the Baruch Hu. You know what I mean? Yeah. 8,000 events are going to happen. Or it has to be my proper pace because if it's too slow or too fast, you got to find your home in the right shul. Yeah. That's good for you. And then just accept the fact that probably it's going to be that pace of that shul. And you can't fight City Hall. You have to realize that, the more chilled out that you get in your Avodas Hashem, without sacrificing halacha and without sacrificing actually doing it, but the more chilled out you are as a person, the better husband you'll be, the better father you'll be, and the better you'll be. And so this is now taking it away from the abstract, beautiful Ohr HaGanuz to just a very practical lamaisa. How do I handle this challenging world that we live in amid all of this chaos? Whether it's what happens in shul, what happens, in Australia or anywhere with the horrible atrocities that are happening to our people. How do we stand up? How do we resist? What do we do? And we still light the menorah. And I'm sure you guys have all seen this video that came out about the special couple that had this menorah outside in Australia that they were lighting publicly, and then their kids literally told them that told them to turn it off, and so they weren't going to turn it out, but they one night did because their kids were so fearful, and then the ex-jinn neighbor goes over to them and was almost like how could they do this? And she was bawling her eyes out. The little kid, can't do this. These are the chosen people. How do we not? And they immediately put the menorah on for the rest of the entire time. Mr. Weinberg, good to see you. Hop in for the latkes and the donuts. And that's the essence and the ikr of everything, is that amid the chaos, the confusion, the challenges, the difficulties, we have to see that there's that light that we can tap into. And so, as we go forward in the Yom Tov of Chanukah, we need to see that just like the mushal of all the kids are going to be excited gathering around and then knock the table over and this and that, that's taka the mushal of life. It's the mashal of life, because as you think this is how it has to go, it has to be just perfect, set up just like this. There are other people in the world around you that have a different vision, that have a different vantage. Another story, another Ma'aser Rav on this idea. We've said this one before, but I'm not sure this crowd has heard it before. Rabbi Yosef Lin at Malkan Yaakov wanted to take one of his daughters out to the park to fly a kite. And so he had a vision of how to fly a kite with his daughter. Hands up if you remember the story, guys. Maybe I just got it this year. Good, we'll give it over to everybody then. So I think it was Naomi even. He went to try to, when she was very, very little, try to fly a kite with. And for whatever reason, the weather just wasn't the way it should be. The kite wasn't going the way he wanted it to. And instead of getting the kite up, it just was like bounce, bounce, bounce. It was just all day long. And Rabbi Lin was just like, okay, I'm going to be stubborn about this. And he was just hours. And it was the kite just bounced back, never got up in the air. And to him, the day was a wash. Horrible failure. And he gets home and his daughter was just like, Tati, could we do that again? That was awesome. Because she never flew a kite before in her life. She had no idea what that even was like. She was out with her father, having a ball, having a great time. And so sometimes, to us, when things are a complete disaster, when things aren't the way we want, when the kids knock the Chanukah table over for the 7th night in a row, and everything is falling apart, ask them, did they have a good lighting experience? Did they have a good time? How were you? All right? So when we think things are so bad, it's usually not that bad.
Yeah.
It's usually not as bad. And so we have to recognize that there's other people in the world, that there's other perspectives at hand. So let's tie everything together now, full circle. We first started off by saying there's a Gemara that talked about the Ohr HaGanuz, and we said, where was the Ohr HaGanuz? It was hidden away for the tzaddikim, for the righteous. We said, okay, but where? Where was it hidden away? We said 3 things. Where was it? Torah was first one. Second one, the Chassidish Derek said what?
Menorah.
The menorah. And third one was Rav Beryl Gershenfeld? In ourselves. In ourselves. That's it. Very good. We opened up each one to say that it's not mutually exclusive, that each one is their own corridor or entry point to the hallway of, to the world of, to the room of, self-examination, exploration, growth, being your best self, and actualization, really. We then asked further, but how do I tap into Chanukah? Because Chanukah, Lamais, is one of the hardest ones. And we said, yeah, it's supposed to be. Chanukah is supposed to be one of the hardest holidays to tap into, because there is malacha allowed, and the kids are home, and it is the darkest time out, and there's no extra thing other than this food that I eat for the 8th day, donuts and at what point do I tap into this? I'm letting one little minute. That's the point, because the struggle is the tachlis. And when you are going through that avoda, the more that you struggle, the more that you toil, the more that you're involved in it, and the more that you invest in it, the more that you'll gain from it. And so we don't see that on any other holiday, I don't think. I mean, sure, the more effort you put into it, the more you're going to get something out of it, right? And for sure, lefum tzara agar, like we say in Pirkei Avot. But I think by Chanukah particularly, when you have so many outs, right? Oh, you'll be my shaliach, I got to go to work. Yeah? You're lighting for the beso, right? Or whatever it might be. You can have so many ways out of it, and that are fine and valid, but did you tap into Chanukah at all? What you put into it is what you get out of it. And so then we asked further, we said, how about ourselves? How do we tap into what it is to be, a light inside of ourselves? And we mentioned strengths, talents, abilities, seeing them, the success in it, and then we answered some questions. So I think we'll hold it over on the recording at 35 here, and then we'll just answer any questions, okay?